Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I told you we were going to try to do some more lives over the coming few weeks. We're going to try to still do our videos. You'll still get a daily posting from the Max. So please be looking for it at 5:30 to 6 Central every day, like it's always been. And we'll hit topics like we always do. However, I wanted to do lives and start doing at least 2 to 3 to 4 of those a week. So that way we can talk, I can answer some questions, but also hit on some topics. We'll stay live for about 15, 20 minutes. So thank you so very much for already coming on. I know this is early, something we're trying out. We'll see how it works. We did the live the other day in the car. I hope I have a better connection today. So we're going to try to go through some of the stories that I want to hit on, and then we'll answer some questions, and then we'll get off. And remember to please check out the video for today as it comes out. Now let's jump into it. I know that there's several people getting on. Thank you. So you tell us where you're from. Let's jump into the stories of the day. Now we have a video coming out today that is so good. I want you to pay attention to it because it's something that's very personal to me when it comes to Christianity and things like that. So I want you to pay attention to that video. So that's why I wanted to jump in and do some of the news stories that were important. There was a news story that came out, and if you remember me talking about it 2 days ago, I said that Trump was trying to get more pharmaceutical providers here in America. And I think that's a good thing. I don't take pharmaceuticals. I told you before, we have emergency preparedness pharmaceuticals, but our goal is to try to not be on pharmaceuticals. But remember, a lot of our pharmaceuticals comes from China and comes from India. Well, there's two problems with that. One thing they found out in 2020 was how desperate we were needing of medical supply and of medicines. So Trump made a comment, and Eli Lilly has already decided to come back here. And I hope some of these other giants, even though you may not like them, they are pretty important to a lot of people, and a lot of people dependent on it. So he made a comment that he wanted to put tariffs based on some of the information on pharmaceuticals, so pharmaceuticals can start being made here in America. Right now, if the tariffs go through, pharmaceuticals will keep on going up exponentially, and therefore that means your insurances go up and so forth. So I want to make a mention of this though. There's a story that came out that said 2 weeks, 2 weeks. If we see this trade war go indefinitely, or at least get a little bit more escalated, we only have 2 weeks worth of pharmaceuticals on average based on the numbers we have and the people that are, taking pharmaceuticals. We only have a 2 week supply of things that people need as life-saving prescriptions and drugs. Now think about that for a second. We are the richest, most successful nation in the world, and are so reliant on pharmaceuticals that we only have a 2 week supply of needs, life-saving pharmaceuticals. Now, again, no matter what your thoughts are on pharmaceuticals and the companies, that's a bad place to be in because they said over 75 to 80% of individuals are on some kind of pharmaceuticals, which is sad, but it's the truth. So if we see that more people are on pharmaceuticals and we only have 2 weeks based on that, I think that that's why Trump is starting to put tariffs on those pharmaceutical companies, not to break them, not to cost more, but to maybe negotiate them coming here and manufacturing some of those things that we are needing. And thank you for some of the ones saying, please hit the thumbs up. It does mean the world to me. So thank you for that. So that was one of the stories I wanted to hit on. So I think the tariff thing with the pharmaceuticals is a good thing. Yes, it may cost a little bit more for the pharmaceuticals right now, but I think what he's trying to do is negotiate getting pharmaceuticals made here in America. That was been one of the biggest pushes. And we've talked about emergency preparedness medicine. That's why we push Jace Medical. That's why we push Wellness Company, because I think you need emergency preparedness medicine for any safety things that's coming up. I mean, you remember how crazy 2020 was, and you couldn't get the I word. You couldn't get a lot of medicines that we're needing. So I would challenge you to get some emergency preparedness medicine. But on top of that, to see that there could be a chance where some of this comes back home and we can start manufacturing some of these pharmaceuticals that are life-saving here in America, I think that's good. You think about how dangerous it is that if the escalation keeps on going with the trade war, how serious would it be if we cannot get pharmaceuticals? 2 weeks is all we have. That was one story. Now another story: House passes the Save Act. Now the House has not done too much of nothing, and actually not codified. The Senate's not codified. They actually went up on their budget. They've not done hardly anything that they promised they were going to do in backing the president. However, one good thing on April 10th, which was, of course, yesterday, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility. Now, again, I think it was like 2 Democrats voted for it, all the rest were, of course, Republicans. But the whole point is that you have to have a passport, you have to have a license, you have to have a form of identification to vote in presidential elections. Now, the Democrats have come out and said it's against children, against women, because nobody has a birth certificate. Now, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.